It's the Craze! I'm back. I know, I'm surprised. I'm making another video already? Huh? Yes. Well, I'm really excited because next week is the beginning of Men's League for bowling. I finally get a chance to do the sport that I love. And when I mean I love, I mean I love. If I got paid to do this, I'd do it every day. But also, on the other note, I also have another job that I'm going to be starting to do, and it will probably be this weekend. And if any of you guys know about it, you guys ever heard of the newspaper Star Advisor? Well, the Craze, me, I'm going to be starting to deliver newspapers. I'm not going to say where, I'm not going to say when. Guys see me deliver newspapers? Say hi! Oh man. And back to the last video. In the last video I did a tribute to Robin Williams, and I love that guy. He was amazing. But, speaking of which, when comedy comes into play, there's different things you can do. Now, one of the things that I love to talk about is improv. Improv is basically a technique where people literally just make things up at the top of their head. Now, there's a lot of people out there that just can randomly take normal stories and make them funny. But then there's also some people that can't. Now, as everybody knows, there are certain situations that can change that. One of the things that can is a situation from the past that brings it to the present. Which brings me to my next thing. If there's anybody out there who feels like I'm different, people don't like me and all that stuff, it doesn't matter what they think. If you have to, ask yourself this question. You look yourself in the mirror and you ask yourself this question. Do you like who you are? Do you like where you are? Do you like your name? Do you like what you've become? Ask yourself all these questions. Who, what, where, and why? No. Just basically ask yourself, who? Who are you? Do you like who you are? Is there something about you you would like to change? Everybody's different. Everybody's got a different view on life. Some people are big on it. Some people are For me, I like who I am. And if you ever see my Facebook page, that little cover picture that you see in the background, it's true. It's absolutely true. Love me or hate me, in the end you'll be glad you met me. Because there's just some things about me that can change a person. Any person, and pretty much every person who's ever been in my life, even when they didn't like me at first, in the end, there are some things that I did that they thanked me for. But the truth is, you don't have to thank me. It's just that next time, if you're walking down the street and you look at someone like me and you think, I don't want to be around this guy, think to yourself, maybe this is just how he's perceived him. But maybe if I get to know him, I might find him he's a nice guy. And that's my main question, brings me to my wonderful question. It's a question not just for men, but for women too. Name one time that when you had a first impression with someone, you thought it was a bad person. But then after you got to know him, you found out that person happened to be very, very nice and became a big influence in your life. For me, I would have to say Coyot. So when I first met him, Lyle, he and I we clicked, but not that much. I mean, there were some things that were different about us, but through the years, we have become very good friends, and now we're basically like brothers, and that's true. So, like I said, the question is there any person that you met, the first time you looked at him, you're like, him or her, and you're like, this person's terrible, I don't want to be around him, and then once you got to know that person, you realized, oh, he or she is a good person. Other than that, it's all about perception. You see, main thing that people worry about is perception. I mean, the way you look. I mean, if you go to school and you look like a goth and you look dark and all that stuff, people are gonna think you're into really bad stuff. I mean, that's their opinion. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion. But then there are just some things that need to be changed. Now that brings me to my second question. My second question to you guys is, has there ever been a time in high school that you did something that you regret? And if you could, would you take it back? For me, yes. There was this time in high school. I'm not going to say her name, but it was in archery. And good old Craze here back then, he was crazy. They literally should have put a nickname label on me, Craze, because I was crazy back then, according to what they said. But it was in 8th grade, and we were doing archery. Unfortunately, this girl, like I said, I'm not going to say her name because we get no permission, I don't want to get in trouble. She wouldn't give up the left-hand bow. There were two of them. There was no line, and I was in the back, and it was almost time to go. So what happened was that she wouldn't give it to me, and for some reason I got angry, fits of rage, and the next minute you know, my knuckles hit her teeth. I got a 5-day in-school suspension for it, and to this day I regret it. But then there's also the point is that this girl to this day, she also seems to regret it too, because she apologized to me on her last day of school. But like I said, I'd say her name or anything, so if anybody out there knows what I'm talking about, that's fine. But like I said, I'm trying not, and I repeat this completely, not to get in trouble, because like I said, I just want to be a person of voice. I don't want to cause any problems. However, there are some times that action must be taken. Now, my final question. Okay? And this one's actually kind of more like a fun, loose one. Okay? Is there anything that in high school you didn't do that if you got a chance to go back, you would do? And if you could, please tell me why. For me, if I could go back into high school and do anything that I didn't get to do, there's one thing I've always wanted to do, but I never got a chance to do. I would have gone out for a musical. Any kind of musical. Even if I was just a stagehand, at least then I could say, hey, I did it. Because there were a lot of people in my grade that looked at me and said, hey, I had the potential for it, but I didn't do it. And the truth be told, I actually know a lot about music. But I'm not going to brag. But like I said, that's my final question to you guys. If there was something you could go, if you were in high school, if you got a chance to go back into high school, part of my story, and you got to do something that you didn't do before, what would it be? And if you can tell me, explain to me why. And like I said, I go back and be part of the musical. Why? Because I love music, and it's the one thing in the world I never did, because in some ways I didn't have time, and in some ways I didn't think about it that way. So I would have loved to do it. And it could have made me, it could have changed me. It could have made me even better than I am now. It could have opened something up to me that I didn't have before. But that's my choice. Now, there's a lot of people who are heading back to college. And a lot of my friends. And a lot of people came and visited. Some people had the opportunity, some people didn't. But there are some things that are happening, and are good. And some things a little bit more, I would call difficult. But my final advice is change is natural. It's not about what the change is. It's mostly about how you deal with it, how you accept it. For me, something happened recently that has literally changed my life. Two things. Some of the ones reoccurring and one I didn't see coming. Like I said, I'm not going to get into it because if I say anything about it, I'm pretty sure somebody's going to get on my case about it. So now this one's just a little bit longer, and I think that's okay. But I try not to go too big. I mean, my good friend Bob Chester, he sometimes can go to a 30-minute long video. Not me. I probably would run out of things to say. But anyways, I thank you for joining me. I hope you guys have a great weekend, and I might see you guys either tomorrow or Saturday, and it might be with Bob Chester. So I thank you for watching. Hope you guys have a nice day, and this is the Craze saying goodbye.